All right, guys, we got another video from Yahoo Finance. Let's see what mainstream media is saying after the stock declines. The Tesla stock is at $260 right now. It's Sunday. So, yeah, let's see what they're saying. And before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been buying Tesla stock since 2018. I buy every month, basically, and I haven't stopped. It's 100% of my stock portfolio is all Tesla. I'm all in on Tesla. I'm a full-time YouTuber. I've scaled multiple YouTube channels. This is a brand new channel. It's a Tesla focused channel. I obviously love the company. I love the stock, and I want to share my knowledge with you. And we're going to go over a bunch of mainstream media videos on this channel, and we're going to see what they're saying. I want to get the conversation started. So let's go. Let's see what Yahoo Finance has to say.
Tesla shares in the red for the week. We're looking at a loss of just over 7%. The stock taking a hit after recent price cuts pressured margins in its most recent quarter, and that overshadowed beats that Tesla posted on both the top and bottom lines. Here with more on what this means for the EV giant and also what we could expect here from other automakers over the next several weeks. I want to bring in Tom Narayan. He's RBC Capital Markets equity analyst. Tom, it's great to see you here. So despite some of the concerns that we're seeing from the street, you reiterated your outperform rating. You kept your price target of 305.
Yes, good
Why
job.
are you buying into some of the worry that we have seen from others, from some of your peers?
Well, I think Tesla is kind of a little different than some of the peers, right? So I think, for Tesla, it's really about the future, like way into the future. Their
All right.
numbers
I like
came
this
in
guy so
great.
far.
It's just that they did say that they're going to be cutting some production in the third quarter. And a
Retooling.
lot of folks wanted them to blow out of the park and raise the guidance on Model 3 and Model Y production for the year. That's probably not happening. So I think some kind of short-sighted people probably took some money off the table there. But really, it's about what Elon said on the call, licensing FSD. That's going to be
Yes.
a game changer. That's the biggest driver, really, for my 305 price target.
Tom,
All right, this guy is amazing. He knows what he's talking about so far. So far, he knows what he's talking about. He's long term. It's very short sighted. Why the stock is dipped. People are worried because he said Tesla said that they're gonna slow down production a little bit to retool the factories, and there's rumors that the Model 3 is gonna get a refresh, so that might be why that there's some retooling. And retooling of the factories means more production, usually more efficient, tweaks to the cars, so that's all good news. But if you're a short term, you just look for the next quarter, you're going to see like, oh, that's bad. Like, why did he say that? And get all upset. But all of us on this channel, which I'm trying to grow with you guys, is long-term investors, really long on Tesla, 5 to 10 years, 20 years out. So he has the right idea. And the FSD, when Elon talked about the FSD, he finally talked about, said it out loud, licensing FSD. We all know that's coming, guys. Like, when Tesla solves FSD, start to save a ton of lives. When the cars drive themselves, every other automaker is gonna want a piece of that technology, and they're gonna license it out. He finally said it out loud. I've known that was coming for years, but yes, he finally said it out loud. And that's what a long-term investors hear. Short-term and institutional investors are all upset about the next quarter, but we're looking at the long-term. Similar to him, he's looking at the long-term as well.
I'm curious, over the course of the last, let's say, 3 or 4 months, what the most common question that you've gotten from clients is on Tesla specifically. Obviously, the stock we know through history has done all kinds of crazy things, up, down, sideways for all kinds of periods of time. But this year, it feels like when you've seen with the free cash flow, you've seen the delivery numbers, the story feels a little bit different maybe than it did in prior runs. I'm just curious what the reaction has been, what those conversations have been like with your clients.
Yeah, the main questions really have to do with the price cutting. Does that mean that there's a demand problem, right? And I think cutting production in Q3, now this is planned cutting just to upgrade the production plants. That's all it is. But I think that does add fuel to the fire where people may think, oh my God, there's a demand problem for Model 3, Model Y. So a lot of folks are wondering, what is the next car in the pipeline? We know it's been speculated, and Elon has talked about this Model 2 car, which is going to be this lower priced car, high volume car we're going to start seeing in 2025. So that's really where everyone wants to see what's the next big car to come out for Tesla, and has demand waned a little for 3 and Y. We think that's not what's happening, but we are excited about this new car that could be coming in 2025.
And I'm curious what you guys.
So yeah, that's interesting. So my dad actually called me yesterday, and he's like, "What's going on with the Tesla stock? Is demand down? Why do they keep cutting prices?" And I had to, go tell him what the real issue is and what's really happening with the price cutting. And he was like, after I told him, he's like, "Oh, because all the news, everything I see on the news says it's negative. Like they're cutting prices and the stock's going down and they're panicking and everyone's selling." And I was just wondering what was going on. And I told him, no, it's nothing to worry about. It's just short-term stuff. They cut prices all the time. They raise prices all the time. Interest rates are super high. People can't afford cars, so they have to cut the prices a bit so people can't afford the cars. So if they keep a high price from the car and the interest rates are through the roof, you're going to have like $1,000 monthly payments for your Model 3s. So a lot of people can't afford that. So they have to cut the price so people can't afford to buy the cars. So the interest rates are going to continue to go up. Probably this whole year, they're going to keep going up. So we're going to see price cuts keep coming. Elon said it on the call. If interest rates keep going up, we're going to have to cut prices again. But they have an 18% price margin on the car, so they have a ton of room to cut the prices. The margins are light years ahead of all the other automakers. All the other automakers are struggling to get 4%, 5%. Tesla is at 18% for their cars, so they can still cut the price. They can cut the price huge and still make massive amounts of profit. And that's what a lot of people don't see. A lot of these news casts that come out that my dad and other people watch have no idea what's going on. So that's why this channel exists, to talk about this stuff, to help those people to see the other side of these newscasts that are completely wrong about Tesla. Let's continue watching.
You guys think then of the truck? I enjoyed Elon's color on the call. What was it? So far off the hook, there's no hook for demand there. Just curious how you think about that forthcoming product.
1.5 million pre-orders.
Yeah, it looks like some pretty strong demand here. If what's indicated in the press on the price point could indicate some trouble for some of the Detroit 3 with their electric trucks, as far as how they're priced, because it looks like Cybertruck is going to be priced potentially in the $40,000 to $50,000 range.
Yeah.
And it offers 500 miles of range. And this is all speculated. But if that is the case, this could be a real problem for some of the competitors. I don't know if this is going to be a huge volume maker. I think it's a great market entry for Tesla, and it really showcases the technology that they have. But ultimately, the future of Tesla really rides on the Model 3, Model Y, and then this new Model 2, and what it does, again, with autonomy, FSD, licensing it to other OEMs. That's really where I think investors should focus.
Yes. Good job, man. Good job. And, when he says this stuff, when he talks about the future, when he talks about full self-driving, the Model 2 going to come out in 2025, these people don't want to hear it. They'll never focus on that. They'll move to the next thing. They'll talk about margins. They'll talk about this quarter, what's going to happen. But we all know, and he gets it too. And it's funny because he seems like a fund manager. So he manages people's money. So usually fund managers are seeing the pressure from their clients, and their clients want profits, and they're usually fund managers are upset when the price goes down. But he seems like this is what you have to do. You have to acknowledge, you have to tell your clients that you're long on Tesla. So you're not going anywhere. We're keeping our price at 300, our price target at 300. We're not going anywhere. We're not gonna go down when the stock goes down. We're not gonna we're just long on Tesla. And a lot of other fund managers do whatever their clients tell them to do. They're scared of their clients. They go up and down because they don't want to lose them. So he seems like he knows what he's talking about. So he's really long on Tesla. He thinks about FSD, he thinks about the next car. So I think he seems pretty cool. Let's keep going.
Its competitors, Ford, obviously maybe already starting to feel some of that pressure, lowering the price of its Lightning earlier this week. When it comes to Ford, we'll hear from them next week. Anything that we heard from Tesla signal maybe some of the troubles that we could also see from Ford, or are they uniquely positioned given the fact that they're obviously not as reliant on EVs?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a different story. I mean, certainly, actually, Ford has actually set themselves up pretty well for the quarter with very low expectations. So I actually think they could do very well. The problem is everybody already knows this. So I think for them, they'll probably, I think, beat on the quarter and raise guidance. But I think that's largely expected. People are really looking when it comes to all these legacy automakers on pricing. So even though they may do great this quarter or maybe this year, everyone's looking at 2024. And pricing seems to finally be falling. We're seeing all this price cutting happening. And now I think that's where the focus is. So even though they may do fine on this, next week or when they report results, I think people are going to be looking past that to 2024 and worried about pricing coming down and the impacts that'll have.
And then Tom,
oh man, please, I really want him to talk about Ford's margins. Ford's margins on their EV models have been absolutely terrible. They've been negative 40% for the longest time. And in Q1, they were negative 102% for their Ford vehicles, guys. I want you to hear this. They were negative 102% on their in Q1 for their EVs. So they're cutting prices of the Ford Lightning by up to $10,000. So that number's gonna go even. That's gonna get even worse. So yeah, they're from minus 40%, from negative 40% to negative 102, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe even more by next quarter. And I was just hoping that he would say it, but he didn't say it. So let's see.
Pretty well for the quarter with very low expectations. So I actually think they could do very well. The problem is about pricing coming down and the impacts that'll have.
And then, Tom, finally, I just want to ask you about GM, another legacy automaker. Looking at the stock right now, it's at $38. It feels like it's been at $38 my entire life, essentially, without, save that one run we saw back in the pandemic. Curious what you make of this story, because this is a name, back in the spring you were a bit more constructive on.
Yeah, it's tough because I think that there's some great things going on here as well. You have an EV lineup, which should really boost pricing and absorb some of the pricing we're worried about for some of the other legacy companies. Now you have all these new EVs coming out that are higher priced, the Lyriq, the Mystique, the Blazer EV, the Hummer. So all of this should help, and it's really exciting. The problem, though, is all of these automakers are about to face the buzzsaw of pricing coming down. It's inevitable. Incentives are going up. Used car price data, I'm sure you saw, came down a lot sharply. We're in a disinflationary environment. Volumes are coming back. So in this environment, it's a little tough to be really banging the table. But we do like some aspects of like the EVs coming out. Also, the fact that they do have AI, right? You do have Cruise, the autonomous robotaxi. Maybe the interest in AI all of a sudden that we've seen lately. Maybe that'll create a halo effect for GM. We'll only see.
Yep. Levers management can certainly pull. All right, Tom Narayan, RBC Capital Markets analyst. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Tom Narayan, he almost did it, but okay, he's kind of optimistic on GM, which GM is kind of a joke to me. In terms of their EV stuff, their EV side of the business. What sucks is that they haven't broke their EV section off from their internal combustion engine like Ford has. Ford, I think they're called Ford Blue or Ford, whatever Ford's EV section is called. So you can see the margins on that. You can see how well their EVs are doing. GM lumps it all into one. So we can't see individually how much their electric cars are losing. So we know they've never made money on the Bolt, and the Bolt has been out for like over a decade. They're discontinuing it this year, so this is the last year of the Bolt. Their highest selling EV they had, they've never made money on, and they're discontinuing it. So to be excited about GM's future because they're coming out with a lot of different models, that means nothing to me. You can come out with 20 different models, but can you sell them at scale? Can you build the volume? Can you build them at a profit? Like the Ford EV, I mean the GM Hummer sold 2 in like Q4, 2 units in Q4. So Yeah, can you sell them at scale at a profit, GM? I highly, highly doubt it. Ford is cutting prices on their F-150, the Lightning F-150 by 10,000, and they're already losing 102%. So when Ford's numbers come out next week, I really want to take a look at that. We're going to see how bad they're doing in terms of the EVs. Maybe they're getting better, but I think Ford has a way better chance than GM. I think GM is going to be done in the next decade. They're not pivoting fast enough. Mary is doing a terrible job, despite what Biden said that one time, how Mary led and it matters and all that weird stuff. And everyone knew it wasn't true. It's just so awkward to watch. Like, what are you talking about? They didn't lead. Tesla's leading. It's obvious. They weren't even invited. Anyway, guys, I'm trying to build a nice community here of Tesla stockholders. So I own 100% of my Tesla, of my stock is Tesla. So I want to know what percentage of your portfolio is Tesla. Are you all in on Tesla like me? How long have you been investing in the company? Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. A ton more videos are dropping today. So let's keep going, keep watching. There's videos popping up all over. Just keep watching. YouTube likes when you keep watching. So keep going. Let's watch videos all day. Let's check out more new stuff along with me.